Hey guys, we are going to work our way through this. It's called Number Corner Checkup 1. It is going to be great practice for your upcoming test. It's kind of long, so I'm going to split this video into 2 parts, just so I don't run out of recording room. Hang with me, I know it's long. And remember, everything I write down, you need to write down as well. If I don't see that the first time, then we have to go back and do it again to practice writing everything down the same. So let's get it done the first time. All right, let's start by putting our name up at the top. Number 1, for the 3 equations below, use parentheses to make each equation true. Then do the operations in the order you've shown to prove that you've placed the grouping symbols correctly. Show your work. So what we have to do is we are actually going to put in parentheses, but we have to try to figure out where to put them in to show what order to solve the problem so that we get different answers. Look at though, they're all the same numbers. What's going to make us get different answers or make them true is where we put in our parentheses and what steps we do first. This is kind of a guess and check strategy. So I'm going to use a pencil. Normally I use a pen so you can see it, but I'm going to use a pencil so that I can erase. The first answer we need to come up with is 26. So let's just start with our very first equation and let's just put parentheses around it. Let's pretend that we think this might be our first step. So if I add 10 plus 3, I get 13. If I take, let's just keep going in order and see if I wind up getting 26. If I take 13 times 4, what would I get? Well, first I'm going to take 13 and double it. And then I'm going to double it again. That's my 4 strategy. 13 doubled is 26. Now, if I double it again, I get 52. Okay, so if I did this part next, I would get 52. Now, if I take 52 and cut it in half, do I get 26? What's 50 cut in half? 25. What's 2 cut in half? 1. Add these 2 together. Hey, I do get 26. So if I were just to leave my problem in order like this, that gets me 26. So I can leave my parentheses like that. Second part of the problem, I have the exact same numbers except for I have to try to equal an 11. So I know that I can't do 10 plus 3 first and then take that times 4 because I'm going to get 26 if I do that. So let's try something different. Let's go to the next number over. Let's try to put parentheses around this. What is 3 times 4? 12. Now I've got to think. What could I do next with that 12? Should I first cut it in half and then add 10? What's 12 cut in half? 6. And then add 10? Do I get 11? No. So then maybe I should first add 10. Do this step first. 12 plus 10 is 22. And now cut it in half. Do I get 11? I do. So I can put my parentheses here for my first step. I get 12. My next step is I added 10. And then the last step is I divided by 2. Third part of the problem. Same exact numbers and operations. But now I need to get 16 as my answer. Well, I can't do 10 plus 3 first. If I do that, I'll eventually get 26. I can't do 3 plus 4 first. I'll get 11. Should we do 4 times 2 first? Excuse me. Let's try it. What is 4 times 2? Or 4 divided by 2? 2. Now, what could I do next? I could take it times this 3 and get 6. And then the last step would have to be add that 10. Then do I get 16? I do. So if I start with 4 divided by 2 first, I got 2. My next step was to take and hug these all together. So I did 3 times 2. And then the last step was to add 10. All right. We put in our parentheses and we showed how we got our answer. So we're good. Let's move on to number 2. What is the volume of a rectangular prism that has a base with an area of 32 centimeters squared and a height of 6 centimeters? Show your work and label the answer with correct units. So I'm just going to quickly sketch out my prism. This is one way I can show my work. Now I know that my base is the very bottom layer. That's this whole bottom. That's my base. My base is 32 centimeters. Once I have my base, what do I do to find the volume? Yeah, I need to know the height. I know that it's 6 layers tall, so I take 32 times 6. 32 times 6. To solve 32 times 6, I could take 30 and a 2. So I could take 30 times 6 first, and then take 2 times 6 next, and add those numbers together. 3 times 6 is 18, and I attach a 0, plus 2 times 6 is 12. If I add these two together, I get 192. Now I have to remember to label my answer. We've been labeling volume with cubic, and this time instead of units, they give us centimeters, cubic centimeters. Cubic centimeters. If you wrote cubic units, I'd be fine with that as well. Let's circle that. Number 3. What is the volume, again, of a rectangular prism that measures 8 meters by 4 meters by 5 meters? To show our work and label our answer. So I'm going to sketch out my prism again. The dimensions are 8 by 4 by 5. Let's solve my base first. My base is this one times this one. 8 times 4. Put it in parentheses. Then I need to figure out my height, or how tall it is, how many layers. My height is 5. Now I could solve this in any order that I want because it's all multiplication. I think I'm actually going to solve 4 times 5 first. So that gets me 20. I like when I have numbers that have a 0 at the end. I still have my 8 left. So now 8 times 20, we have 8 times 2 is 16, attach a 0. And how do I label it? Cubic. And this time they give us meters. And circle it. If anything is going too fast, please pause it so you can catch up. Make sure you write down everything that I write down. Let's flip the page. Number 4, Marco's homework has ketchup spilled on it. Uh-oh. What number should be where the spot is? So we have 4 times 6 times something, we don't know what that is, equals 96. So we have to figure out the missing number. Well, first, let's figure out what is 4 times 6. 24. So we need to take 24 times something to equal 96. We don't know what that is. So I'm going to think of how many 24s it takes to equal 96. So I'm going to take groups of 24, and I need to equal 96. So I'm going to sketch out a quick ratio table. Two groups of 24 would be 48. Let's double that. Four groups would be, if I double 48, oh, I get 96. So how many groups of 24 did it take? It took 4. Number 5, fill in the blanks of the equations below. Okay, so we have my equal sign. So this side has to equal this side. Well, in both of my equations, I have a 5. So this side, I have 16. This side, I need to equal 16. What times 2 equals 16? 8. Good. B. Here's my equation sign. So this side has to equal this side. Over here, I have an 18. Can I put any of these numbers together to equal an 18? Yeah, I can put a 6 and a 3 together. So what do I have left over? A 4. So 6 and 3 equals 18, and I have a 4 left over. That means over here it could be a 4. Okay. Next one, letter C. Here's my equal sign. This side has to equal this side. Let's figure out what this side is. 4 times 3 times 6. I could do 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 6. Let's split up the 12 into a 10 times 6 and a 2 times 6. 10 times 6 is 60. 2 times 6 is 12. Add them together. I get 72. 72. So over here I have to get 72. Oh, wait a minute though. Look at, I have 2 times 3 is 6. Oh, that was the same as over here. This equals 6, this equals 6. What do these other two numbers equal? 12. So that means this one has to equal 12. Awesome. Let's go to letter D. 246 minus 19 equals something minus 20. That's interesting. 19 to 20, they subtracted one extra group, or one extra. So here I have to make sure I have one extra. 19 to 20 is one more. 246 plus one more is 247. It's kind of a weird one. Letter E, kind of connected the same way. 98 to 100, they added 2. And so in order to get the same answer, I have to actually subtract 2 this time because I'm over by 2. They went over by 2 here, so I have to take away 2 from here, and I get 55. Okay, we're actually going to skip letter F. We're going to go on to number 6. List the factors for each number below. Write P next to the numbers that are prime and C next to the numbers that are composite. Okay, so list the factors. We're going to make a factor ratio. So letter A, we're going to start with 1 times 39. Can I take 2 times anything? No, it's not even. Can I take 3 times something? Yeah, I can take 3 times 13. That equals 39. Is this prime or composite? It is composite because it has more than just 1 times itself as its factors. Let's do 45. Start with 1 times 45. I can't take 2 times anything because it's not even. I can take 3 times something. 3 times 15 actually equals 45. 4 times something? No. 5 times something? 5 times 9. And that's all my factors. Is this prime or composite? Composite. Ooh, 71. 1 times 71. That's it. Those are the only numbers I can use to get to 71. So is that prime or composite? That's prime. All right. Number 7 says list all the factors that 24 and 48 have in common. So I'm going to make a factor rainbow for 24 and for 48. 24, I can start with 1 and 24. 2 and 12. 3 and 8. 4 and 6. Wow, there's a lot of them. Let's do 48. 1 and 48. 2 and 24. 3 and 3 times what equals 48? 3 times what equals 48? Let's think about that for a second. Is there something? I think there might be. It's actually 3 and 16. It's kind of a tricky one. We're not used to that one. 4 times 12 and 6 times 8. Whew, there's a lot of them. Now, which ones do they have in common? They have 1, 2, 3 in common, 4 in common, 6 in common, 8 in common, 12 in common, and 24 in common. Wow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. That's a lot in common. All right, let's do number 8, and then we're going to pause the video and start a new one. What are 2 multiples that 8 and 5 have in common? So when we do multiples, we're doing skip counts. So let's start with 8, and let's skip count by 8 for a little bit. So we have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64. I'm going to keep going until I know that I have them in common with a 5. Okay, I have 64. Was 8 times 8? 8 times 9 is 72. 8 times 10 is 80. I have 88. Okay, let's just stop right there. Let's see what we have for 5s. We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Let's stop right there. Do we have 2 numbers that we have in common? Well, I know we have a 40 in common. Is there anything else that we have in common? Will we eventually get to 80? 55, 60, we will. We'll eventually get to 80. So we could have 40 and 80 in common. All right, I'm going to pause this video right here. You're going to open up the next link to the next video where we'll finish the packet.